On this episode of Drinks Los Hermanos, we talk to Ken Harshman, the founder and creator of Great Scott Ice Cream. We talk about the little bit of the nudge that he needed to get this company started, what kind of efforts he puts in to keep the quality of his product high, and what's next in this company. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? It is Tristan Jackson, and we are here with Ken Harshman, owner of Great Scott Ice Cream, and
We'll leave it at ice cream for now.
We'll leave it at ice cream for now. All right. And it's episode 13 of Drinks with Los Hermanos. Yeah. You can catch it on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, all of the
major podcasts. So we met Ken back at the Can Kitchen. He came in for what was branding, marketing?
No.
It was business model canvas.
That's right. And so that was what, a year and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And met you there, and then kept in touch a little bit over the course of time, and then once we started gearing up in the cargo unit, we kind of talked to you a little bit more just to get some of your insight.
Well, I think we ran into each other out at Sprout as well. And that's when it clicked. Like, I know those guys.
Yeah, right. So we all three of us participate in shared kitchens and have started that way in our food business. But can you tell us a little bit more about Great Scott?
Yeah. So Great Scott is we make ice cream. We started as Pops. The vision has always been ice cream. What we do is on a stick, so everything is technically novelty, but it is my own desire. Years and years ago, I fell in love with ice cream. I didn't realize as a naive 25, 24-year-old kid that there was an intermediate between making it in the backyard or in the kitchen with mom and dad and the stuff that you see in grocery stores, right? So it didn't hit with me that there was a middle ground for this. I was out in Jackson, Wyoming, which is absolutely beautiful. My chef at the time, I was working at a golf course, private club. My chef made a sorbet out of Snake River red tail pheasant ale. So awesome, and I'd never seen it done. I'd never seen it done up close. And he did it a little bit differently than I remember doing it as a kid or how I do it now, but the end product was the same. And I had no idea that you could actually do something like that, right? It was so foreign to me because it wasn't that bucket or carton from the grocery store, and it wasn't something that I made that was kind of good, but not super flavorful in the backyard. So fell in love with it there. Immediately, like the next day, went into town. So Jackson, Wyoming, into town, 6 miles, whatever. Takes a while, but went in and bought a book the next day, an ice cream recipe book, and have been messing around with it. And that was 97, 98. My big thing was I want to use the best stuff I can get my hands on. Yeah. So I use full flavored fruit. I use stuff that's ripe. I use stuff that's probably close to going over because that's where the sugar is really the highest. Yeah. It's where you get the really good flavors from. And I wanted to do ice cream, and it just turned into something that was more birthday parties, gatherings with family, stuff like that. Food was great, but when I came home, I came back here in 99, 2000, right around there. It wasn't really happening here. It wasn't something that I felt I could actually make money on because my costs, I was buying retail from a grocery store, Albertsons or something like that, and you start to do the math on those and you worry a little bit about it. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get $16 for a pint of ice cream, right? So start looking at it's a ton, but you start looking at different ways to produce. So I basically started looking at different ways to produce, and in 2014, across the street from where you guys are now, used to be Sweet Creations, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a friend of both of the owners. John and Tracy were fantastic. I worked with Tracy when I came back to Michigan, actually, and met John through her. John and I had lunch one day, and I said, I need to know how to get into this. Like, I feel like I'm at the end of my rope with working in the corporate world. I wasn't really feeling like I was doing stuff for me anymore. Yeah. So we talked a little bit. He told me their story of how they got into this. That night, literally 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, sat up straight in bed, and the idea of just smaller serving. It's a smaller serving, and that's how I could get into this. So that was one of the things that that's kind of where we came from. Flavors is the huge part, and then figuring out how to not lose that when you go to a bigger scale. So that's really what Great Scott Ice Cream is. We're a social company, we're a fun company, we're a brand at this point. We just happen to do food, right? So that's kind of the way I want it to be. We're an experience company. We go out there and you're going to have fun. It's very, very hard not to smile when someone gives you a pop, yeah. Right? And then you try it and you're like, this is amazing. Thank you very much. I'm so glad to hear that. Come on by anytime. So it's hard not to have fun. The food is the centerpiece, but the experience is kind of where we're pushing for. We want people to remember us fondly, laugh, smile, bring us out for a birthday party, whatever it is. So it's food, but it's experience driven.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really similar to how we do it. We also kind of had that problem a little bit when we first started, like with cold brew. We're doing it in such small batches. We're like, man, this is expensive. How are we going to do it? And like we started just selling bags of coffee, mm-hmm. and it's gourmet. So I mean, it's priced accordingly,
right?
And so we were just trying to figure out ways to get people to taste it. Kind of like you, we had something go wrong at an event we were at. We're like, how about we just sell drinks? Mm-hmm. And then we just kind of took off. So I mean, it's weird, but at the same time, it's not that we can have such similar stories, completely different products.
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty common because you're forced into doing something that you weren't really thinking about at the first hand, or maybe you were thinking about it and had dismissed it yourselves, and just, at least I know I had. Yeah, I want to do this. I can't make money doing this. Right. And from that point on, for years and years and years, it was, well, I'll use it at family events. I'll bring it into work, entertain people with that. Just kind of, it's surprising when you see, like, you made this? Yeah, this is awesome. This is fantastic. Yeah. What else do you make? Oh man, I make a lot of different stuff. So it's necessity that pushes you out of that boundary. At least it was for us, or for me. It wasn't anything that I had set out to say, by this time I want to do this, or by this time I want to do this.
Just let it naturally progress.
I had the idea, and figuring out how to get there was really the hardest part. And it took quite a long time. Now, part of that was because I didn't want to take the risk. I was afraid. I mean, that's like many people in these positions are. I don't know if I can do that, right? I guess I can, right? Yeah, and that's kind of how it turns out. I guess I can.
Yeah, and in our situation, we had a little bit different. We had he could make that jump, make that risk, quit his jobs, and still have a support system to be able to pay the bills. Not everyone has that. So like,
as a person that still works for Kellogg's, how did you start, I guess, scaling up and like knowing once you got through, letting people know that, oh, this is a product that I made? How did you get to that next step?
It's a good question. So I actually used a lot of my coworkers and my friends for tasting, for testing, right? The equipment that we have is specialized. It's stainless steel molds into a freezer that is liquid. It's still liquid at minus 20 centigrade, right? Or Celsius. So we know that we can freeze everything that we have in about 30 minutes. It'll be frozen solid, which is fantastic for us. But we can run our molds through this freezer. The issue is going to be, at least for us, the issue was, how do I get them to where people are? So I started with just plastic molds and would try flavors and bring them into work. And I had an email list of people that said, when you do this, let me know. I probably did 30 different flavors. It had come at a time when Kellogg was making some rollbacks. We knew that there were some job cuts that were coming. And lucky me, I was in the very first round of job cuts that were going to be announced. They actually announced it, and I knew that my job was ending in a specific amount of time by 9:30 that morning. I had already been looking to do something on my own. That drive or that curiosity of, man, I really want to do this, I just don't know how, has always been there. This was one of those, that impetus that where you have no choice.
Or that's that push.
You can do it or you can't. Now's your choice. Now's your time to make that choice, right? Luckily, as things progressed, I went to one of our Eggo plants, which is outside of Memphis. And I had been looking at equipment for about 3 months. One particular piece of equipment I knew was being used in a town 3 miles away from where I was going to be. So when I got sent to Memphis area, to Rossville is really where it is. When I got sent there, the second day I was there, I walked into Mama D. D Moore is her name, but D runs a pop shop in Collierville, Tennessee. And I walked in, introduced myself. I said, I want to do what you do, and I want you to show me. Do you mind if I hang out? Can I see how this works?
Yeah.
And she was naturally hesitant, like anybody else would be or should be, right? I said, I don't live here. I'm here in business. I don't have any plans of staying here. She said, yeah, come on back. And I think it really became real in her mind that I wasn't just kind of messing around when I said, you're running this machine and these molds, right? And at that point, it's kind of like that insider lingo of, okay, you kind of know what's going on.
You're not just someone who came in and said, I like popsicles.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't that. So she was very gracious. She let me come back. I spent a couple of days making with her and her team. Really, really cool. And at that point figured out that, yeah, this is completely doable. This is absolutely something that we can make happen. So for us scaling into that, from that idea to getting it to a saleable product, came the conversations with Dee, working some time with her, the conversations with John at Sweet Creations, just a mix, a blend of outside ideas and saying, you know what, I think I can do what I do in this format, and I think it'll work. A lot of the stuff that if you've seen our stuff, a lot of it we trade on, not out of the norm flavors, but flavors that are going to be that you're not going to find in your grocery store, right? That you would struggle to find in a grocery store.
The uniqueness.
Yes, absolutely. Because, and I've found for us, it's one of those things where if I can get someone to try something like a balsamic strawberry and black pepper, which sounds absurd, I absolutely agree. But it's one of those where if I can get you to try that and you like it, everything else I tell you to try, you'll be in. You'll be in for it. There's a great guy in Marshall, Jim Dyer, who is former mayor of Marshall. Fantastic guy. To this day, tells me, I'm glad you talked me into that because now I can't get away from him. So and I'm glad for it because he's a great customer, but he's a good guy to know. Yeah. And it's nice knowing that somebody out there likes what you do enough to reach out and say, hey, when are you doing this again? When are you going to have this? Or when can I find you? Or I can't wait to see you this spring, right? So it's a great thing for us. But it was a matter of pushing those buttons and being pushed by someone else to say, make a decision. Do you really want to do this or do you not? And as luck would have it, I got pushed in that decision, and then I found another role with Kellogg. I was 6 months into my research. I knew the costs. I was sadly saving up for a motorcycle. I'd had a bike before. I really wanted a new bike, but not knowing my future of how things were going to go with someone else's business. Basically, it wasn't my business. I'm not really in control of anything. Yeah. It just made sense for me to take the money that I was going to put on a motorcycle. Breaks my heart, but I'm so happy that I did because now I have something that I can work with. Yeah. So that's kind of how it just came from my savings. We've done everything ourselves at this point. We started out very, very small. We started out with a couple of markets and me strong-arming family to come help me out, right?
You gotta do it.
To the point of abuse. I mean, it was, I need to make this. There's this place wants this or this place wants this, and can we even do this? The first time we set up, I remember vividly, we did like $80, which is not a lot, but that day felt like I had won the lottery. People actually like this. Yeah, this is amazing.
It was kind of like that assurance that what I'm doing can actually work. Yes. I made $80. Yeah.
And it was huge pride. And then immediately, and maybe it's just me, but a lot of, oh crap, now what? It's like, oh,
it's not just you.
I kind of knew it was okay. I expected, or I hoped that people were going to be like, yes, we want more. I didn't expect the overwhelming positive response of, this is good, what else do you have? What else do you make, right? It's one of those where I don't know, there's that fear of, that fear of failure. And still today, 5 years in, there's still that, they know it's fruit and sugar and some cream and some spices and some herbs. I just happen to put them together a little bit differently than other people do. And it comes back to us pushing that experience. It's not, they come to see you guys, right? Yeah. They come to see me. They come to enjoy the product, that's fine. But after you get to know a lot of these people, I know customers by the first name. I know a lot of customers by their first name. Not everybody. We have a lot of good customers. Yeah. But there's a lot of people where, and we're coming up on it soon, we'll open back up in May, where that first weekend that we see people, we'll get hugs. Like, oh, I've missed you guys. I've missed you guys. Like, what's going on? So, and there's a couple of younger fans that I've seen, since they were 10 years old now or 12 years old now. Now they're driving out to see us on their own. It's like, wow, this is fantastic. I love this. Thank you guys for coming out. So it's been a lot of fun for us.
Timeline wise, so you said 5 years ago that was when you first kind of made it to the market. That was that puts us
2014 we incorporated.
Okay.
Yeah, 2014. So we're getting ready to start our 5th year of actually selling.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
congrats.
Thanks. Well, most of them fail within the first year, right? Is that
food businesses? I think the next increment is
it's 5. It's 5. Yeah, it is. It is. Trust me, I've noticed. it's 5.
Well, and I mean, I think a lot of it is people underestimate the amount of work you have to put into it. Like
that's what it is.
We get all the time like, oh, you guys, you work every day. Yeah,
you have to.
You have to work.
Yeah, it's especially in the inception of your new business. You have to put in those.
Be there.
No one cares more than you.
Yeah.
How can you convince someone to care about your own business?
Yeah. Like if you don't. In the paper, they had that article where the guy that owns Team Active. He's like, yeah, I work half days, 12-hour days. That's what I work.
Yeah.
I was like, that's my half day because it's my business. I'm here. Right.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I wouldn't really. Let's not be honest. If I could have it any other way, I'd love for you to make money for me.
Yeah, of course.
But that's not happening right now. So let's go ahead and keep plugging away. So we'll come out here. I'll do a full day at Kellogg, and then we'll hit the kitchen in season. I'll hit the kitchen, and then we go until it's far too late, and then try to get some sleep and start all over again. And then the weekends come and. Weekends used to be great. Weekends used to be a lot of fun, and they still are. They're a blast, but now they're a lot of work. And come Sunday afternoon, I'm wiped out.
Yeah.
So but I wouldn't want it any other way, because I know people associate me with my brand, right? With our business. It's us. It's the people I have around. It's me. It's the environment that we have. It's new flavors. It's all of that coming together, and that's what draws people in. And I'm not going to miss that. I want to be there when they're there.
If I really what it's about. The money, great. And then you got to live on it.
Secondary,
awesome. But like the experience of seeing someone love one of your pops, or someone just be like, man, this is a really good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And kind of goes back to that $80. It's like it's reassuring, like, oh,
yeah,
something I just made that was kind of on a whim. You're like. Wow, some other person besides me likes it, so I'm doing at least something right because one's better than zero.
Like, not so much with the pops because you said ice cream at home. It's a little bit more difficult. Like, anybody can make a cup of coffee at home.
Yeah,
people do it every day. And we were reading something like 78% of coffee drinkers make it at home.
Yeah,
but we still get the people that come in because they want one of our cups of coffee, and they like us. They like the shop. They like the experience.
Yeah, it becomes convenient, and then it becomes. This is better than what I can do, right? And we would get that. In fact, one of the first times we set up, and we get it not every year because we've been a little bit more established, but I can buy a box for this amount. We're not by any means. I don't believe that we are extravagant with our price. I think we're in line with our price. But she was absolutely right. Yeah. You can buy 3 dozen for what I'm asking you for one. Try this. If it's not for you, Keep your money in your pocket.
You're tailored for a certain
absolutely.
demographic.
I don't want to take $3 out of your pocket that are going to be needed to feed you, to pay your rent, or to keep your kids clothed. Yeah. That's not my business. I don't want that. But if you have $3 that you're willing to bet on, try this. If you like it, I win. Give me the $3.
Yeah.
If you don't, you can keep the $3. You win a pop. That's all you. I think that's a fair. That's a fair trade. And it's one of those things where, and we stand by it even now. Try it. I always talk to people in a couple different ways. When we try to have a menu of 4, right? So we have a good mix. We have some dairy. We have some non-dairy. Usually a lemonade, something like that. Where that's what kids just flock to, right? So we have to have a good mix. And if I put one up there that's kind of on the edge, like the balsamic or a raspberry basil or even a peach jalapeno, someone will look at them and then go, and you can tell, after time, you can tell, like, what are you trying to decide? What are you torn between? Well, I don't know if I want this or if I want this. And my answer is always the same. Go for the one you're not sure about. If you don't like it, I'll give you the other one. It's not going to bother me one bit. But I want you to try something different. And if it's interesting to you now and you like it, you'll come see me again. That's perfect.
And then you like all the other ones. Like if you like the peach jalapeno, you're going to like the strawberry.
Absolutely.
You're going to like the lemonade because those are standard, everyone.
Right.
Delicious.
Yeah.
This one, the peach jalapeno, it's good.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a ton of fun to do it that way.
With people too, like
absolutely,
like trust. That people buy on trust most of the time.
Yeah.
It's experience and trust.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we do with our. We have a Coco Caliente right now, which is it's just a regular cold brew, but we put some cayenne pepper and some cocoa powder in it, just to get a little of that that kick. And you're like, ooh, I don't know, and I'm like, here, just take a taste.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, get whatever else you want, but just try it.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of people that are really surprised at how much they like it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is taking that risk or trying some things. For you, it's going to be a new product. Mm-hmm. For them to try it at home, that's just a waste of a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to ruin it. I'm not sure if that's going to be any good. And it literally is just one cup of coffee that they can dump, but somehow that's a barrier to making that experience. So if someone else has got it, and I'll try that. Or even if it's a small shot, I've seen tastes through here, right? Yeah. It was a small taste, and like, oh, that's not at all what I was expecting. I'd like to have that.
Yeah.
That's a solid win, right?
Yeah.
That's a solid win.
So, like, kind of speaking on that, like, you're talking about new flavors and stuff like that. How do you come up with those new, like, edgy flavors?
Honestly, a lot of the time my 2 favorite flavors that we've ever made are balsamic strawberry and raspberry basil, and they are inspirations comes from everywhere, right? The balsamic strawberry it's a salad dressing, right? But that's what it is. It's balsamic vinegar and strawberries, and you can pick those things up at a grocery store. I'm sure I had it at a lunch somewhere, but it's one of those where these two go well together.
They do put them on salads.
Yeah, these two go well together. How can I capitalize on that? There's a couple really, really good books. Food Lover's Companion, I would recommend to anybody, where you can say, it goes through a couple different things, but it's got what it's actually called, and then it's got what people commonly refer to it as, and then it's got a group of pairings, like this is good with this. Well, okay, let's try that. Mm-hmm. And basil is one of those where the fresh berries, it just goes so well. The same thing with the balsamic, and actually I've been messing with the balsamic a little bit. Horrocks locally they have a chocolate balsamic vinegar that they sell bulk. It's from, I want to say it's from California, but it's one of those where I tried it in the store, and then it was like, okay, I'm going to have to figure out how to use this, because it is amazing. But most of the flavors literally come from experience of, I'd like to try that, or I bet that would be good. That we did a test, we've done a ton of test stuff that has never made it to market. Don't think that there's any part of what we do that is
it's always perfect.
Yeah, it's not foolproof in any way. There was one of our best sellers when we make it is a carrot orange ginger, and it was, I say it's the 3rd. It may have been the 4th recipe before I finally was happy with it, and I had to bring somebody else in to help me with it, because I had gone through roasting the carrots, I had gone through blending the carrots, I'd gone through everything I could think of to make sure that I was getting the sweetness, and I wasn't overpowering anything else. And more than once, I take a bite and spit it out, because this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. But most of it is, it's a matter of finding those things that you think pair well together. Berries in general are pretty interchangeable, right? So if you have a raspberry, blueberry, blackberry, any of those things, if it's good with this, it's probably going to be pretty good with this. That's why we don't do a lot of that switching around. We stay with balsamic and strawberry. I know it would be great with raspberry. We stay with raspberry and basil. We've tried it with strawberry. It doesn't have the same kick, right? It just doesn't have that same appeal. And I think part of that is the berries themselves. One of the fears that I'd always had when I was doing this was people are so used to what an artificial taste is.
Yes.
That I was worried that they wouldn't recognize this for what it was.
Chicory.
Right? Yeah. What is this? Right. So raspberries, in fact, the biggest one that I dug my heels in on was banana. And it's a very prolific, you're going to see the fruit everywhere, right? But when people eat something that's banana they get banana flavoring is immediately what comes to mind. And I was so worried about that I stayed away from it for 2 years. And then finally, just make the damn banana. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll give it a try. And we did a chocolate banana, and it was insane. And again, sitting in that kitchen out at Sprout, popsicle in my hand, shaking my head like I've missed this for 2 years. I have messed this up for 2 years. So but most of the flavors come from friends will suggest some things. We have customers that will suggest some new flavors for us. But a lot of it is just pairings that I know tend to work well, either complement each other and then layer that flavor, right? So we do a mango chili. We do one of our favorites is a Mexican hot chocolate, which is literally a little bit of cinnamon, some cayenne, and chocolate ice cream. But the layers of how that tastes when it melts in your mouth, you get that kick right up front, and then there's a little bit of a tingle when that's what I'm shooting for. I don't want you to just get the taste. I want you to have the whole taste experience, right? The whole idea is to show how much can really be done with minimal ingredients, because that's what we use. There's nothing else to that. It's cayenne, cinnamon, and chocolate organic ice cream. It's hard to go wrong.
It's crazy that you can do that much with so few, but we do the same thing with a lot of ours. We try to really stress we don't want artificial flavors. You know, it's not a shot at the bigger coffee places. Not going to do it by name, but like they just pump a lot of syrup in there.
Yeah.
Like, so
it's artificial too. Artificial.
So we call it our autumn blend. Probably come up with a cooler name for it later, but it's basically a pumpkin spice latte. But we use nutmeg and cinnamon.
Yeah.
And it's real flavors. And like there's people that are like, what do you mean there's nothing else in this? I'm like, it's coffee.
Right.
And it's nitro, so it's got that full body and it feels like it's
the nitro's great. You get the softer feel. You don't need as much sugar. It's an awesome product, and it's one of those things that I approached you guys. That was one of the things I just walked myself into a corner talking about things that I wasn't really ready to talk about yet. But the idea of the trucks, right?
Nice.
That's one of exactly. I know that's coming now. It's one of those things that I was looking at to expand some of our offerings. Yeah. So it's a great product, and the fact that you can small adjustments to something and blow people's mind is awesome. And it's credit to you guys for taking that risk. It's not out of the question. There are those big chains that do that stuff, but you're right. A lot of it's pumped with syrup. Yeah. So it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's rewarding to hear people say, man, this tastes really good. I can't believe you only use that. And I'm like, yeah, it's just ground spices and coffee. And it tastes real close to what they artificially flavor it. Like,
well, we're so accustomed to associating certain flavors with specific things. And in a lot of ways, it makes sense, but a lot of ways it doesn't. So one of our first fall events that we did was a farm to belly dinner with Sprout, territorial as well. And we actually did one with Umami Ramen and Sprout at Sprout, or it was Springfield at the time, so at Sprout. But it was my take on a pumpkin ice cream, and there was no pumpkin. It wasn't pumpkin spice. I used a yellow squash. I used Chinese 5-spice instead of your nutmeg, your cinnamon. Yeah. Instead of using your traditional pumpkin spice, it's 2 spices off. But it's so close that people believe that's what it is, right? So it's really, food is one of those memory makers like music, where you taste something that you've had somewhere and you're immediately brought back to.
Right. Oh,
this is one of those that was just close enough to trick people into, this is really good pumpkin. Yeah. Yes, except it's not.
It's yellow squash.
It's yellow squash and Chinese 5-spice, and I called it. I think I called it Mandarin Thanksgiving. And what is this? I'm like, well, it's not what you think. So, but it's that flavor creativity comes from, I want to see if this is good together, or I know this is good together. What if I change one thing out? And that's really where a lot of it comes from.
So, as more of a seasonal business, since you haven't expanded into storefronts as much as you probably would like, or I don't know, maybe not. But how do you maintain your brand recognition through those winter months, and also how do you get over the whole winter dry season?
Winter blues of you not being able to do what you want to do.
It's a good question. It's that question that we face every winter, and it's a question that I've yet to find an answer to. The winter is ice cream consumption does not go down; it actually goes up. The issue is, without being in a physical location or a presence where people can come to you,
how to get it to
I have no way to get it to somebody, right? So I'm absolutely looking for that place where I can be and bring people to me. The winters are used for, or what they've been used for in the past, have been some new equipment, right? So first winter out, we picked up a push cart. Right, it's an old classic Worksman tricycle or Worksman push cart, ice cream cart out of New York. They were the guys that made the old Good Humor carts, right? So it's that look. Got that, went with it. This works out. So that gives me some catering options. The next winter I went and bought a couple more. And then I picked up a tricycle the winter after that. And then this year I went big and picked up a couple
big vehicles,
couple very, very old vehicles. I picked up a couple. There's some 1953 and a 1960 vehicle that we're looking to turn into some catering options and maybe some food truck capabilities out of there too. So it's all with pushing the brand. So I use the winters. Literally, I use the winters to refresh myself a little bit, and to work on what's gonna be the next state of Great Scott. How else are we going to do these things? This winter we've done on top of the trucks. It's been a lot of relationship building with some people that I want to partner with. You guys, I've done a little bit of time, and I'm working on a confectioner in Kalamazoo so that we can add some options to what we're making and then make for them as well. I would love the opportunity to continue to make Great Scott stuff, but I welcome the opportunity to make brand XYZ as well, right? That's not something that I'm afraid of doing. Everything that we do has always been very, very steadfast in no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, and no preservatives. So no artificial flavors. I know it's not artificial, but white grape juice is not something you're going to find in our kitchen. It's not artificial, but it's a sweetener, and it's only a sweetener, right? Yeah. It's one of those things where you add flavor to it because it can imitate so many things. That's not something we do. When I say it is a peach jalapeno, it's peaches and fresh jalapeno. Now the jalapeno's not in there, but you're getting that flavor. We put it into the syrup and we make it. All of that stuff is what's on my label is the only thing in there. I've made 2 exceptions. I used vegetable dye for pride events. So we have a lot of fans in Kalamazoo. We ponied up to go do Kalamazoo Pride 2 years ago. Absolutely blown away at the reception and the way that things went. And to me, I felt like it was one of those things where I don't think I'm breaking my promise. It is a natural food dye, but being able to put that rainbow onto 2 of my flavors literally changes nothing at all. And it's a special event, and it allows that to be, special for that weekend, right?
It's like a one-off, and it's expected. Like they're not going to be like, "What the hell?" Something else. You kind of know that that's going to happen.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it just is. It's also for bigger things than just.
Right.
My brand is at stake.
It's not just. It's for me. It was a matter of being able to celebrate what they were doing, not trade on it, but show that I have respect for what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. It was a matter of, I get this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So it was really well received. We did them again for Battle Creek Pride. It's one of those things that I think is okay for me to bend that rule, but I don't do it for my own product usually. Right. And we do make for little plug. We make for the serial killers, right? The Battle Creek serial killers, the roller derby team. We make 2 flavors for them, and they are both cereal milk flavors, right? So there's a chocolate and there's a fruit, and I'll let you guess as to which 2 companies are used to make these flavors. When we're in Battle Creek, it's pretty limited. So it's a matter of finding what people want or what I think can help people out. For the serial killers, it was a matter of, I think we can make a fundraiser for you. I won't make these flavors for anyone else. I'll make this. You can sell them at this. You buy them for me for half of that, right? So it's an opportunity for them to make money. They can tell people it's us if they want to. I don't even use our branded sticks when we do it, right? It's a matter of, this is you. This is your brand. If you'd like me to do it differently, let me know. But it's one of those opportunities.
Not a promise.
Absolutely. You're buying something that you've asked for. It's going to have your name on it. We designed their labels. It doesn't have our name on the sticks. I want you to be happy with what you're getting, and if it works for you, come back and ask for some more. Right?
Perfect.
So it's gone well. They're getting ready to kick off again. I'm hoping that we're going to hear from them soon. I imagine we will. But yes, we do a chocolate, right, and then we do a fruit flavor. So it's literally steeped cereal. Great flavors, but that's one of those things where my brand doesn't do artificial. This has absolutely got some artificial flavor in it, but it's also perfect for them. Right. So yeah, it works out well for everybody involved, and I'd like to see some more of that stuff. But I have a pretty good plate, a pretty full plate at times. So
I like how throughout pretty much your whole story that you've been talking about, that you've always taken just the small step, and like you said, you reinvested what you got that summer for something that would help grow the business.
Yeah.
And you took what you did there and kept on recycling it in, and you're not trying to move too fast. You're not trying to do this. You're doing it the right way, I would say.
I would love to believe that. Thank you for one. I would love to believe that it's the right way. But it is an incredibly maddening for somebody who is, I can get a big picture, I can have an idea, I want to move on it.
Right.
And it's incredibly difficult to not have the resources to do that. So it is one of the things that we're looking at. But yeah, it's small steps and keep folding it back into the business has always been the way that I wanted to run it. So, and it's worked thus far. Yeah, it works out well. But it's one of those where first of all, don't try to get so much information that you're paralyzed with everything that you have to make a decision on.
Oh, yeah.
Paralysis by analysis is not good for anybody. Get enough, get a good plan, and then execute. And if you have to tweak the plan, tweak the plan. So I'm not afraid. We're still small enough to where I can make those decisions on the fly, right? So it's a good thing.
It's one of the things that happened to us this summer, I would say especially, because I got a break from the cargo box. He was there 7 days a week. And it's just like, I need more space because 8x20 is not enough space. But it's just like, you just got to grind through the summer and then we'll be able to go somewhere. And then we were really kind of unsure of where we were going to go heading into winter because we were like, well, we can't be in the cargo box all winter because it's cold. And then, we kind of jumped a little bit further than we thought we were going to, just like we did in the cargo box. And now we're starting to plan, take smaller steps. We have a big, great vision, and we know what we want to do.
Yeah.
but that's up here. We're not quite there yet.
So you got a lot of rungs to the ladder still,
Right,
and that's as long as everybody knows that and you don't get defeated by it. That's a great plan to have. That's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
You have to model it out and make sure that you are capable of pulling off what your dream is. Start with your destination and then work backwards.
Right.
What do I need to do if I need to be here? In the interim, what steps do I need to make to check that box and say, "Yep, I'm ready for this step. I'm ready for this step."
Yeah,
and that's
reverse engineer it.
Absolutely, you have. It's really the best way to solve it.
Yeah, we've had a few of our friends, kind of come up to us since, they've seen us actually get past the concept, the this is what I want to do.
Right.
Because a lot of people, I think that's where it stops. Because it's like you said earlier, it's a big jump. It's a lot, not everyone wants to give up their weekends. Not everyone wants to give up their social life. But so we've had people ask us about it, and they're like, oh, it's just a lot of work up front. And I'm like, all right, look further.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Where do you want to be? And then what can you do now to get there in 2 years or a year?
Or not even, maybe say, like here, let's see, people say where we are right now is where they want to be. Well, that's not how unless you have a lot of money, that's not how it works.
That's not how we started.
You gotta start with, we bought, 30 kilos of coffee. Our first one.
My parents put down 300 and I put down 300, and that's how we started.
Right.
$600 is how we started.
Yeah.
And now we have a store.
Right.
We started it, we did that in October of 2016 is when we bought our first 30 kilos of coffee.
Right.
We put it in order today for over 200 for the month.
Yeah.
And so, it's, you got to incrementally get there, but you got to take that first little jump.
The progress is great. You have to know. First of all, you have to not be afraid to take that step, which is you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of people that they pull the reins on the horse just before it's ready to jump.
Yeah.
So they never get it. No. There's so many people where that idea ends there, and I was one of those people for a long time.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's human nature, but sooner or later, you have to decide do I really want to keep doing this, or do you recognize that if I want things to be different, I'm going to have to do something different? And that was, for us, that was the biggest part. And again, like I said, I got nudged because I was told I was going to lose my job. So that's a big part of it. And this was, ice cream up until then had always been one of the things I wanted to do anyway. So there was an interest. I loved being in food. I hadn't been in food in almost 15 years. I kind of missed it. I love the experience of people interacting with you, and you get that immediate response with food. You get an immediate response of
if they like it or not.
Absolutely.
Right away.
Yeah, and I know if you love it. There's a difference between that's pretty good and what is that?
Yeah,
that's a big difference, and those are the ones that we shoot for. And when I first started, I actually had on my business card Smile Maker, because I felt like that was. I'm making food, but what I'm doing is really making you smile.
Right.
Because you're going to try this and go, what the hell is that? Or people ask me where Great Scott came from. And it's got its own story, but a lot of times I'll say, well, it's just better than hearing a little kid proclaim holy,
Yeah.
So it's a nice little joke, but it's one of those where I know there's going to be an immediate reaction. And if it's the reaction I want, you're going to smile, and that's going to make me smile, just from ear to ear. You can't hide it when this is really good. Right away. So,
and that makes doing all those little steps worth it.
It makes all of the hard. It makes those late nights. It makes the aching feet, the sore back, the knees that you can't feel. It makes all of that disappear. Now it comes back. Don't get me wrong, but all that disappears for a quick minute. And if you take the time to talk with these people, they see how excited you are about the food. They see how excited you are about making them happy. It's just a good relationship, right? I wouldn't want to try to do it any other way.
Well, and that's something that you can't fake. It's not so I ask people all the time, people ask me, when did you know you were passionate about coffee? And I was like, I wasn't.
I've never been passionate about coffee.
Yeah, no, that's not what it was.
Yeah.
Call me crazy, working retail, I enjoyed it. There was a lot of downside. There's a lot that I didn't enjoy, but the actual interaction with people is what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Doing that here, people, I don't know about you, but I can tell when someone really loves it when they're walking out and they stop.
Yeah.
and then they keep going. Like they drink it, oh, it's a cup of coffee. Let me go. Got to get out of here. And then they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think everybody has those stories. That's the thing. When you've caught them off guard, right? You've surprised them. They expected a cup of coffee. Well, a cup of coffee can be a cup of coffee from McDonald's. It can be something that's brewed at home. But when it's something special, or you've grabbed their attention, right? That's a beautiful thing. And you do see it when they're not expecting it. Mm-hmm. The number of people that have been walking away and turned around and come back and said, this is really good. Yeah. And they're not blowing smoke. This is it's a visceral reaction. You can see it on their face. You can see it in their body. And I'm sure you get the exact same thing of like, people try it as they're walking out and then completely turn around like, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, I'm glad you love it. Come back and see us tomorrow. I've got something else I want you to try. That makes all the difference in the world. And those people they're more than customers. Those people become friends, and if they're treated well, those people become the biggest champions you can have.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because they're going to tell their coworkers, or they're going to tell their friends, and maybe bring somebody else down next time. Hey, you need to try this. You absolutely have to try this. This is what I had the first time. You should try these. This is awesome. That's what I'm shooting for. It's that engagement, that experience. Again, I want people to associate us with the best ice cream they've ever had. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I'm going to play it like it is. We're going to have we're going to have a relationship based on the fact that I want you to think this is the very best ice cream you've ever had in your life. Right? You're going to be surprised with everything I make, and it's going to make me genuinely happy. And because I'm thankful for that, because I'm grateful for that, I should be smiling and thanking you, and that makes you feel important as well. Because you are. I mean, they ultimately are the reason that we're out here. I love what I'm doing, but if I didn't have somebody to sell it to, I would be in the same place that I was before, making it at home, taking it into work. You make this? Yeah, I make this. Why aren't you selling it? I don't know. Right? That's the question, and that's how it comes out.
Yeah, we can see, to your kind of family point, like we joke around. We have a little spot that we call the friend zone. Mm-hmm. But we had some people there this weekend that naturally sat there.
Yeah.
Because I think they saw other people that we knew sit there before. Right. And it's kind of, we call it friend zone because you can sit and talk with us while we're working.
Yeah, really close.
Instead of over here at the tables away. They normally sat there every time they come in.
Yeah.
But Saturday, they sat up there for an hour, 2 hours, just talking. And it's just that natural progression of regulars that become friends.
Yeah.
And then
onto that point, it seems like relationship building is one of the biggest tools that you use.
It has to be. Yeah. For us, absolutely, it has to be. Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things that I want customers. I want my guests. I call them.
Right. I like that better than
they should be my focus, right?
Yeah.
They are the focus in the fact that what I'm making is going to them. I'm putting everything I have into that. I want them to love it. I'd like it a little bit more if I could blow them away, right? I want them to leave going, I will be back.
Yeah.
That's the best compliment. You can tell me anything in the world. The best compliment you can give me, we'll be back, right?
And then when they actually show up, it's like, wow.
Yeah. And it's empowering for the entrepreneur, but it's kind of an ego boost for the guy who was afraid to take that leap to go, you know what? It may have taken me a while, but I'm not crazy. I'm actually good at this. Yeah. This is awesome. So it goes a long way. And that, the friend thing, I think you brought it up a minute ago with, our friends come in and they can hang out for a little bit. I think for me, I lost sight of my friends for a long time when I started doing this. It was just you're doing what? I'm going to be busy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be busy.
Right. It's a natural progression.
Yeah.
We get that all the time.
It's just the way it goes. And I don't want to not see you, but I can't not be there because other people are expecting me, right? So we used to take an annual trip up north. There was a lot of things that I've missed out on, but I've made that decision because now I've got other people that are expecting and looking for things from me. And you guys are lucky in one way that it's two of you and maybe somebody helping.
Yeah.
When we get going, I've got people that are counting on me so that they can make their rent, and that's a completely different level of pressure when you are when you still like to think of yourself as relatively small, but you have people who are making rent payments on the wages that they make from you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's it. So there's a little bit of pressure to that, but it's a dedication. It's a matter of, and then part of the growth is, hey, I'm going to be out here. Come out and see me. My friends, bring in your own friends. Say, hey, I'm going to be at this place.
I'll be.
Yeah, I'm going to be here, or I'm going to be here. Come out and see me. And I've done it a couple of times where somebody will come out, and I know full well I'm not going to be able to talk to them. But they come out, they stand back and watch what's going on, and just shake their heads like, "What are you doing? When did you get this good?" It just came when it's the right thing, the right food, the right place, the right people. It just kind of came out, right? Yeah. And I'm sure that happened for you guys too. It's just like I didn't practice to be this good. I mean, I guess I did because repetition makes it easier. But I never set out to be good with people. It just kind of happened. It was one of the things I wanted to get good at. Maybe I got good just by practicing, but it's the same story of like customer service for me. I hated customer service. I hated it. With a passion, I hated it. But it wasn't the customers that I didn't like. It was some other rigidities. There was just a matter of, this isn't what I want to do, right? If I'm going to work this hard, I don't want to do it for somebody else.
Yes.
I don't want to take the abuse that you can sometimes get for somebody else. If you don't like it and it's my doing, I absolutely own that. My company, I own it. The goal is to never put yourself in that position. And when you are the front line of retail or even management at retail, that's not your call.
Yeah. You know what I mean? When I worked at Walgreens,
not your call.
I'd be back at the pharmacy doing something, and I was the manager, and I'd get yelled at because someone's insurance didn't cover something. I'm like, listen, man, that is way up here.
So many levels above my pay grade.
I'm bringing you up.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about that. But like you said, here, someone gets mad, we can do something. Yeah. It's on us.
I can fix that for you. I would much rather you tell me if you are not happy with what you have. I would much rather you tell me if there's something you didn't like, because you're important to me. I want you to come back. I would much rather you tell me if you're not happy so that I have the opportunity to fix it than you just keep it quiet and leave even disappointed. Even if you're going to come back, I don't want you to leave disappointed because our trade is I'm going to give you something awesome. You're going to give me $3. Right. That's just the way it goes. I don't want to fail on my part because I know you're not going to fail on yours. You're going to give me $3. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to shortchange you on that. I want you to get at least this experience, and I want you to be happy enough to go, I need to bring so-and-so down here, I need to bring my mom, I need to bring my girlfriend, I need to bring somebody down here because this is fantastic.
Someone else needs to taste
this. I've been telling them for weeks, you've got to try this. I'm glad you're back, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. So there's a lot to service that I don't think a lot of people understand, and you do lose that time with your friends. But having them come in and see what you're doing and seeing you, for lack of a better term, is kind of impressive, right? There's people when they get going, you're like, where did that come from? How are you even pulling this off? I've known you since you were 4, you know? But at the same time, there's a recognition of they're good at this. They're going to be good at this. Oh, yeah. I don't have to do anything special. I can get out of the way, right? So
I think that's why there's been a resurgence of local and small business in society, is because you can do something about your product, but someone at Walgreens, hey man, I don't make the rules.
Right, right. And it seems like as the customer, I don't want to hear you can't fix this. Yeah. But I also know intrinsically you can't fix this. This isn't you doing this, but I'm still going to be, you're accountable, right? Even if you're not. Well, I'd much rather actually have the ability to make a change to something than to have that happen.
So you said, if they don't like the pop, here, try this.
Absolutely.
You'll like this.
Absolutely. You know, it's been our policy since day one. If you don't like it, I'll give you another one. That's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I would much rather you leave with something you love.
You like,
right? Right. Going into our 5th year, it happens. I've never had anybody abuse it, right? It's not been, oh, I don't like it. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's never happened. It's been a genuine, this isn't for me. No problem. I understand that. Here, try this one. This is the other one you were looking at, right? Try that one. Oh, this is so good. most of the time when I make that offer of get the one you're not sure about, because that's the one, that's the experience you should have, right? Try it. Most of the time, that goes over with raised eyebrows, like, whoa, that's awesome. That's really, what did you do here? I didn't do anything special. I promise you, we don't do anything special. We're not mixing in anything that's going to make this addictive for you. There's nothing like that. It's real food. It's simple stuff. It's a clean label, and it goes a long way. People recognize the effort to that. When I think the resurgence, like you were talking about, there is a resurgence to that small food or small business, right? That's kind of what the economy was built on years and years ago, and it plays into what I'm guessing is going to be one of the next questions about what we're doing next, right? Mm-hmm. Everything that we do with food had to start somewhere else, right? It had to start somewhere that was very simple, and then it moved into mass production because that's what we do. We drive the costs down so that I, as the owner, can make more money, right? I want to make money, don't get me wrong, but I want the experience, right? I want the experience of, what is that? I didn't know that could even be done. I want that every time somebody comes and sees us. So, ask your question. Where are you at? You want to talk about the trucks?
What's next?
So you guys have asked me about
what were you playing this winter? Since your winter is
this winter is I picked up a couple of very old trucks, like we talked about earlier, 1953 and a 1960. They are Grumman Olson. They are no longer in production. Olson still makes panel vans, but Grumman makes aluminum, like canoes, and they make a lot of different things. But this is a step delivery van. There's two of them. 6 window up front, like curved, beautiful, very, very vintage look, very retro, or whatever you want to call it. The same feel that our push carts have of, like, this is what I think this should look like, right? When I saw the trucks, and silly me, I saw the trucks and jaw just dropped and eyes lit up. It was like, oh, I want one of those. When I went to look at the very first one, I took my dad with me. It's raining, first of all. This truck is in rough shape. And I jumped out of the car, and just like a kid at Christmas morning, like, oh, I want it bad. So we're gonna work to so natural progression for Great Scott. We've done everything on a stick. Everything's been novelty to this point. We have the ability. Many of what we make, the recipes will scale to hard scooped ice cream, right, or sorbet. In a lot of cases, the sorbet. Natural extension to that for me is being able to do sundaes and cones and cups, milkshakes, malts, things like that, floats. Just add to the ice cream general experience of it all. But when I started looking at it, I started breaking down what else could happen. So I've started another business that is not fully launched yet. It should hit sometime this year when we get there. But we're going to make the sodas ourselves. So we're going to do the old drugstore fountain style sodas, right? So if
playing on that nostalgia feel.
Exactly, playing right into that, because that's kind of the table that we've set for ourselves, right? We play really, really well when we're there. But being able to do, a cherry lime Ricky made literally in the counter. I'm not popping the top on something. Yeah. I'm looking at a carbonator that's going to be pumping the cold seltzer water, right? So we can draw that down, and all of the syrups that we can make in-house. A lot of the flavors that we make, real fruit as a preservative doesn't last, or real fruit on its own doesn't last terribly long. Right. But to make a syrup, a little bit of citric acid, a little bit of citrus to it, prolongs that a little bit. So right now, I have 2 5-gallon kegs in my refrigerator, my keezer, really, right? So I've converted a freezer into a keg. I've got an external temperature monitor to it, so I can keep it within about 4 degrees. I'm carbonating actual root beer. So we're brewing root beer. It's not a mix. It's not a concentrate. This is real deal. We're making root beer. Also, we do a cream soda or we will do a cream soda. All of this stuff has been in my head for a while. Yeah. Getting it out into the wild, getting it out into tastings. I did the same thing I did when I started with the ice cream, of just inundating friends with this. Take 8 bottles of syrup over to a friend's house and like, okay, round up the kids, let's do this, and do a bunch of different tastings. But it's the same feeling that the ice cream gave us, or gave me when I first started doing it, was this is good. This is better than what I can get in a can of Coke. Right. And I'm not knocking those guys. They've done really well, right? But it's the experience of, I never got to experience a drugstore fountain, right? My folks did, or they knew of them, right? But a lot of this stuff just kind of went away because it was so much faster and so much cheaper to do this on a larger scale. Well, it didn't make sense for the drugstores to keep doing individual drinks like that. Yeah. Well, that's what I want. I think I can control this enough to where I'm going to have great ice cream made with sodas that we're making by hand. This is all small batch stuff. I'm not making, gallons and gallons of this stuff at a time. The same kegs that you guys run, it's a 5-gallon keg. Brewing that up, kegging it, pressurizing it, getting it all ready to go. There's something satisfying about that, but there's also something really satisfying about when you try something that you've made that is absolutely different than something you can pick up in a store, and you're not sure which one you like better, right? Like, I know that you have no idea the number of root beers that I've tried in the last 4 months. Like, it's disturbing, the number of root beers that I've tried in the last 4 months. But it's those kind of things where we're going to take a twist on something that a lot of people recognize. We're going to turn it into our own, and then we're going to serve that out, and we're going to do the very best we can to keep pushing that limit. So the trucks will be turned into rolling ice cream parlors, right? So we're going to have the ability to do fountains, do floats as we make them. Root beer is probably, I'm shooting for root beer to be the centerpiece of what we're doing, because first of all, it's literally a craft beer, right?
Yeah, just beer.
We're in the area that Michigan is fantastic for craft brewing. Mm-hmm. They've got some really, really good breweries, a lot of guys that know what they're doing. But root beer is simple, kind of. It's not in the way that, so in the 60s, one of the main components of root beer was outlawed. It was deemed cancerous. And so since then, what people associate with root beer is more of a wintergreen flavor, which is crazy. And I didn't even, and here's the thing, before I started looking at this, pop a top of Barks or just, and smell it. And what you thought, or what you've associated with root beer, is wintergreen. It's wintergreen, which is crazy. Huh. But it's one of those things where that's how it happened. And because it was mass produced, that's the flavor that everybody grew up on.
Banana runs.
Right, exactly. Everybody's grown up on that. Well, I did a tasting the other day, and one of the first descriptions that gal told me was, it tastes smoky. I'm like, okay, I know what you mean, or I think I know what you mean. And part of playing this game, and I'm sure you guys have done this as well, is you say something to me, I need to know what you actually mean by this, right? Yeah. So by smoky, what do you mean, Aubrey? Are you saying that it's like, do you taste? What are you tasting? It seems like something I would drink in the woods. Okay. What you're describing is earthy, right? That's the taste. It's the roots, right? So then it's just a progression of figuring out what it is you're tasting. Do you like it, right? So we know that it's going to be a little bit different than root beer you're going to get in a can, or you're going to get from a drive-through or anything like that. But it's also going to be different enough to be memorable, and different enough to be, I hope, sought out for a return visit, right? So I'm looking at blueberry, I'm looking at cherry, I'm looking at peach. I did a test with some great Georgia peaches. I just wish I had the ability to have them all the time, because that is an amazing flavor. But the cherry, I've got a cherry soda, a cherry syrup that we make that is, it's Michigan through and through, man. It's an amazing flavor. It's one of those where like I didn't know it could be like that. So our progress from here is going to be to take that leap from pops. I still want pops to be the focus of it's always been there for us. I'm kind of hoping that becomes an introduction to what we do, and then we bring more people in with everything else. And it gives us some different options in how we can offer our stuff, right? So catered events, festivals, we still do those. We do those with pops, and we're very, very lucky in that what we make is very quick to serve, right? So for catering, it works out really, really well. Event planners love the fact that I can be in and out, right? I don't have to take time serving this up. Yeah. I don't make much of a mess. It's literally moving. Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go, right? So that's a huge plus for us, but I also want the ability to come in and be something different. I think we did 9 weddings last year. We've got 4 on the books already this year. That's a service I want to continue to grow, right? So the catering is going to be a big part of that. This is another vehicle for us to push some different services for catering. So
you can have one of those roll up to your wedding?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the idea.
Soda stand at your wedding?
Absolutely. Here's the best part of it. If I play my cards right and I think I can do this, work with some beverage companies and actually be able to make mixed drinks, right? Be able to do, so we get a lot of questions like, can you put alcohol in your pops? I can, if you want, but I can't sell it.
Yeah, right? You don't have that license.
I don't have that license. But and then doing the math on this, we did an employee event for one of the local breweries. And I was hoping to use one of their beers as a flavor and make that all the time. Problem is, even 20 ounces of this in a full batch of my stuff puts me over the legal limit of alcohol that doesn't have to be declared, right? Or alcohol that I don't have to have a license for, right? So vanilla extract is alcohol, but nobody worries about vanilla extract. If I say I'm putting beer into ice cream, people freak out a little bit and like, well, nobody's going to get drunk by anything that I sell. It's just not going to happen. But I can take a pop and put it into a pint, or put it into a rocks glass, or put it into a nice decorative mixed drink, and you know what? That works out really well. So it's all finding those places, and the idea with the trucks is that retro look, that vintage look, capitalizing on that. We're redoing our website. That should be live in a couple weeks, and that's all going to be vintage inspired, right? We've played off on that for 4 years now. Of it's not what you expect, It's, and I can't use the term. We can't use the term popsicle, right? Somebody else owns that. So it's a pop. It's an ice pop. It's a fruit pop. It's a fruit bar. But all of that is different than what you remember as a kid, or what you seem to remember as a kid, or what you think it should be, because none of what we make is what you are used to, unless you've had it before, right? So real fruit goes a long way. That's a big part of it.
Just using those quality ingredients and taking your time to research it, figure it out. That's really what sets the bar high.
It does. It does.
So is there a plan in the future to be a syrup and or beverage company?
There is, yeah. Okay. So I bought the domain a couple months ago, but we're going to do, originally it was a matter of, if I'm going to have this truck, I'm going to need to make toppings, right? So I'm thinking caramel and hot fudge and things like that. But looking at the sodas, I need to make some syrups for this. So I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to brand that particular segment of what we do separately. And then I'm literally looking at that as, I love what I do. I love Great Scott ice cream. I love the idea of doing the syrups, but ultimately I'd like to have some money, right? I'd love it to build a brand up to where someone else wants to look at it and go, you know what, this can work, and I think I have the ability to take this to another level. Would you be interested in selling? For the right thing, absolutely yes. Part of the next step for us, or branding, or making that differently, doing into the syrups and things like that, the syrups, toppings, is to become attractive to CPG, right? To become attracted to your consumer product goods, right? So that's really where I know we have a lot of that in the market. There's a lot of things that I want to do where I'm going to have to change my mindset a little bit. It's very, very hard to be stable without preservatives in those environments. So that's part of what's causing me to not want to do it as Great Scott, because as we talked about earlier, we keep a clean label. But I also want to be able to make this, and the only way to make this is with some preservative. There's got to be something in it that's going to make it shelf stable, or there's going to be something in it that makes it last a little bit longer. And I want to be able to build those out. So yeah, I've got I want to say 7 different sodas ready, where I'm pretty happy with the recipes. All of that gives me the ability to do floats with my ice cream. If we do 4 or 5 flavors on our truck, we can scoop and actually make different custom floats, right? Yeah. Milkshakes, all of that stuff, where we can say it's all made by us. And hopefully, I think I'd like to brand the syrups, the sodas, things like that as something else, but I'm still not quite sure how that's going to happen yet. But yeah, the idea is for us to have a component that makes syrups and sodas, and ultimately I'd love to be able to supply guys like you, guys like the bars down the street, right? To get those mixers to where, hey, this is better. I promise you, try this. And see how that goes. And I think there's been a big move to mixologists. There's been a lot of movement in bartending where you're going with shrubs and you're going with all of these specialty type drinks. I want to play in that field. It works really, really well with what we already do. Right. That unique flavor, that just a little bit different. And being in the Midwest, honestly, we're slow to get where the coasts have gone. So this isn't new. It's just new here, right? And it's not really even new here. It's just I want to put my take on it, right? Yeah. Same thing with the cold brew or the
cold brew,
nitro.
Especially,
the nitro and the cold brew. All of that stuff exists, but outside of a chain, nobody's seen it. Not here,
not in the Midwest,
right? So it's new to people, but it's been proven. Right, we know it works. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'd like to play in that field just a little bit more. So ultimately, I would love to say Great Scott Ice Cream is going to go on and have multiple stores, and we're going to be all up and down the shoreline, and it's going to be great. But I also know that I have other ideas floating around in my head that I want to keep hitting. Yeah. So
and honestly, like owning a storefront or multiple is a lot of cost, where if you can get that one home base, or you can also do production, you can also do canning or whatever you want to do, and then distribute and do what you do, pop up here and there and get your brand out that way. It's much more cost effective.
It's been a hardest part for the last year. We did I think I want to say at one point we had 11 markets every week. Right. So out of the confined space, out of the shared kitchen space that we use, that's a lot. It is. It's a lot of
how many people do you
labor. Last year, including myself, at one point I had a staff of 8 on top of me. One of those was basically my manager. She'd been with me a couple of years. She's awesome. I'd love to have her back. I don't think I'll get her back, but because she's she's now in grad school. It's one of those things where she was a friend of a friend, or she was actually the child of a friend, and I think she'd be interested in doing this. Great, let's do this. And she's got an awesome personality, very, very bright kid, and now I'm coming through that realization that I'm going to have to replace her, right? Where it's I got to start over, but there's nothing wrong with that. But it's a matter of there's a lot of plus to having the same people surround you. I don't have to do a lot different, and they're willing to roll with me when I want to change things. So she was a huge benefit, but yeah, I keep talking about it, and it's just going to make me sad. I know I'm going to have to make a replacement for her. But we had 8, and she was one of them. Last year, I had some health issues where I knew I was going to have to step away from my business. So I brought Tiara on with that full expectation of
she can run
I'm going to need you to run this come time when I have to have this done, right? So, and she stepped up and took care of everything and is awesome. And I'd love to have her back. I just don't think I'm going to be that lucky.
Yeah, unfortunately, in food business, that's what happens.
Yeah, well, and she's got a career that she wants to start. Right, exactly. You know, it's just the way it goes. If I could convince somebody to come work for me all the time, great. But again, we're kind of seasonal right now. I'd love to get into the point where we're not, but this is one of those growing pains of having that small business is I just don't have the resources to keep somebody that I really want to keep. It's just the way it is. I'm going to have to do something different. I would love to believe that if I really needed help, she'd drop everything she was doing and come help me, because I think she would. But I don't want to do that to people. I don't want to do that to my friends. I don't want to do that. And at this point, she's beyond an employee. Right? Yeah. She's a friend. She's awesome. Her guy came in and was basically second in charge because he'd been with us before. Right. He knew what was going on. And these guys have great personalities. They have great outgoing personalities. That's the big part of, especially at market, going out and talking to people. And you have to be engaged. Yeah. I can't sit, looking at my phone and wait for somebody to talk to me. It just doesn't work that way. And these guys were pros at it. I mean, they're very, very good. So, staff of 8, that included my kitchen time. So we had, at any time, we probably had 5 people in the kitchen. We have a lot of stuff that we have to do. We start with whole fruit, right? So it comes in whole. We break it all down. There's nothing in there that it's not a mix. Right. We buy an organic ice cream base from a company in New York, and then we do everything from there. So we're making simple syrup. We're blending all of our fruit. We're doing all the mix ourselves. We're literally grinding our spices. The nutmeg. You said. Fresh ground nutmeg is so much more powerful than the stuff you get out of a bottle. Yeah. People don't know that stuff. That's the kind of thing where we'll take that extra step of just a fresh spice or fresh herbs. So when we make our basil, our raspberry basil, we make it into a simple syrup. We make the same thing with the jalapeno. Mm-hmm. You make it into a syrup, and it grabs the flavor from there, but you can tell the difference between old dried up basil and fresh basil. Yeah. And you can tell the difference between fresh sliced jalapenos and a concentrate. There's a difference, and that's, stick with what is real and what's good, and it'll come through. And that's been the way we wanted to do it from day one. Yeah.
So we like to end all these with the same 2 questions.
Okay, bring it on.
You can answer them in whatever order you want. The first one is, what was one of your biggest setbacks or failures that actually propelled you to greater success?
Yeah.
And then the second one is, it's pretty generic. It's either life advice or entrepreneurship advice or career advice to somebody who might need that push to get them going.
Okay. So mistakes we make so many. Yeah. It's not, nobody's perfect in what they're doing. And I'm not afraid to say that. But I think my mistakes are ones that we try to learn from. I don't ever want to make a mistake in service. I recognized as a mistake when we go to market, or when we were going to market, we were a single transaction, right? So I'll get 1, or I'll get 3 because I've got the kids with me, or whatever it is. And I should have seen that coming, and I didn't. But it was very, very, it was a nice impetus to go out and figure out how I'm going to get more to people. And we turned it into to-go bags, right? So we have some branded coolers, soft-sided coolers, that I put a special on them. You can buy them, or you can, if you buy 10, I'll give you this bag. Right. So my transactions went from 1 or 3 or however many to 10. And because you have that bag, I'll tell you what, you come back and see me, and every time you bring that bag and you fill up with 10 or more, I'll give you $5 right off the top. We'll take $5 right off the top. So that mistake of actually it was 2 mistakes, not being absolutely positive that what I had was going to be great and planning for that. I took it as, let's test it, let's see what happens. Right. And immediately it became obvious that one at a time, especially in the markets that we were working once a week, I need to see you more often.
Right. Yeah.
I've got something for that. So that was one of those. It wasn't my biggest mistake, but it was the biggest turnaround from a mistake where we were short-sighted in how much we were actually going to move, and people wanted more of them. So we took the opportunity to get those branded coolers. We advertise it at every window that we're at. It's a matter of, hey, you buy this, you fill this up with 10, I'll give you the bag. You can buy the bag if you want to. Fill it up with 10, I'll give you the bag, and every time you come back and fill it up with 10 or more, I'll take $5 off. It's given us the ability, one, it gives us some nice advertising because people will take it and they'll walk around their markets or they'll fill their lunch up with it through the week. But it brings some loyalty to it too. And it's special because those people I know I can form a relationship with, they're going to come back. We still have people that'll buy it simply because of the name. They have a son or a brother or somebody, Scott, and he thinks this would be awesome. I get that. I'll gladly sell you one. But it's that relationship. It's that long-term relationship where every time you see me, if you're interested, bring that back. I'll give you $5 off. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit, and it gives people understanding that I'm serious about, I want to see you.
Right.
I want to see you, and I want you to be able to take home as many as you want, right? And that was something we were short-sighted on. So that mistake was probably the one that we turned around the best. Advice, get out of your comfort zone, get out. And when we met, it was because I was helping teach a class for Can Do Kitchen, right? Get out into the environment where you're looking to be, right? Don't be afraid of taking a risk. And if you have goals, write them down. Write them down and figure out how you're going to get there. Lately, I've been doing a lot to try to figure out how I'm going to be a better leader, not just an owner or a manager or whatever it's going to be. I want to lead an organization. We've just been announced as a finalist for Catalyst University's Makers Mart, which is fantastic, happening in June.
Congrats.
But thank you very much. Thank you. And some great people involved with that. The Physic Kombucha girls, amazing, amazing ladies, right? Great product. But the idea for me, they asked in part of that is, what would you do with the prize money? I'm like, the prize money is secondary. Do you have any idea the people that are going to be around? The people themselves, those thought leaders, those people that have energy, right? That have something to give of themselves, something to share of themselves. Those are the people I would spend all day with them. Right. That's an all-day thing I get to do. Prize money is secondary. I'd love to win. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to win. But the plus for me is being able to be around these people.
The knowledge is
it's unreal. And picking up engross yourself in what works or the people that you find an inspiration in. I've been doing a lot. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I finished my MBA, so I called it the what did I call it? The alphabet soup hustle, something like that. So I formed an LLC, I finished my MBA, and I filed a DBA, all within about 4 months, right? So it's boom, 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 boom. But it's a matter of finding the energy, somebody who's going to be able to help you get to that next spot. Yeah. Much like you guys when you went to Can Do Kitchen, right? And you were taking that class. You knew what you wanted to do. You had the product. But, okay, what do I not know that I don't know? Yeah. I don't even, what am I missing? And it's stepping out into those things of saying, all right, I've got to get a better handle on this, or I want to make sure I've got this checked. The community is fantastic for that. The makers, the food people. And it's not just food people. If you have an inspiration in making something, find somebody who's doing it. Right. And be honest about it. Hey, how did you get going? Like, what do you need? And sometimes those simple answers will be, well, you have to have this license, you have to have this license, but you can start to weed out the interest and the casual conversation, right? Go after somebody who's got something of value and model yourself on how they've done it. Listen to them. If they have a TED Talk, or if they have a book, if they have a podcast, just like that, go out and consume that stuff. Don't be afraid. Everybody's afraid. I'm still afraid today that sooner or later somebody's going to figure out it's really just fruit, sugar, and some spice. Like I'm petrified of that, but I also know it's not easy. And if it was, then there'd be some trouble to it. I would be concerned about it, but it's not. And a lot of people will just stop right before that point, right? Well, I can do this at home, but I'm not gonna.
Right.
Yeah. The same thing with the coffee. Don't get off the ride before the end, right? The same thing with the I think it was the Jefferson quote where so many people pull up on the reins just before the horse jumps, right? You're just about there. Don't give up. Consume as much as you can on business and lifestyle and the changing economy. I mean, that's really what it is. We're moving into back to that service base, right? So
for sure.
The food is there. The food's part of it, but I can get food at a drive-thru.
Right.
I want an experience. I want you to get something you can't get somewhere else. That's the part of, if you dedicate yourself to that, I think you'll be in great shape.
That's great.
Yeah, that lines up right with us. You know, it's like you said, we didn't know what we didn't know before we got to Can Do, and it just completely opened up this whole new world of like, you know, wow, there's all these people that are willing to drop just their knowledge to you for free.
Yeah.
You know, with no expectation of anything in return.
Yeah.
And it's just it's really a community inside another community of people that are like, yeah, these guys are out here hustling, they're trying to do something. Let me help them a little bit.
Absolutely. And I would recommend that to you guys too. Take that time. I know you're busy. We're all busy. Take that time to go back and offer that hand out again, because it really does go a long way. I had no part in you guys' success, but I felt a connection with you and Meredith because you guys were in the same Can Do cohort, right? I mean, it was basically the same classes. So there's a connection there of, oh, I remember these guys. It goes a long way. It's at very least, it's a conversation starter when I see you again at the kitchen, right? It's like, oh, hey, how's it going? How are you guys doing? Yeah. Oh man, let me tell you how we're doing. It's like you would not believe what's happening, but it's being out and being able to give a little bit back. I'm not giving the store away, but a couple hours of my time just to impart some knowledge that I have, absolutely, and create those relationships, because it really is. It's relationship driven. Everything we're going to do is relationship driven, and being able to push that, being able to help out, like JJ's, right? Young guy, he knows what he's doing.
He does.
Yeah. Let's get business. Let's get that business part in there for him. Hey, have you thought about this? He's going to be good at this. He's going to be really good at this. But that's the kind of thing where him asking questions may not happen, but if you're out there and ready to help him, those are the pluses, right? That's to me, those are the pluses. It comes down to relationships, and if that means you've got to spend a little bit of time out there helping somebody out or coaching somebody, that's great. I would love to have a coach that's available to me all the time. But when you start getting to all the time, well, why don't you just bring this person on staff?
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't need it. I don't have the resources for that, for one. But small relationships, if it's once a week, reach out to somebody, right, and help somebody out, mentor them if you want to call it that. But there's always somebody looking for some advice or looking for, how did you do this when you did this? Like, and maybe that's not the path you want to go. Yeah. But hearing it from them, get their experiences, get their pluses, get their minuses, and then make your decision for yourself. Just don't be afraid to pull the trigger. You got to do it yourself. Step on the gas, man. Step on the gas. So, but thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No problem. Thanks for coming in.
Anything else?
It's really long. You're going to edit the crap out of this, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to plug before?
No. Just we're going to open up here. We're going to hit. I know we're going to be at Kalamazoo Market May 4. I believe is the first Saturday in May. You can find us there. You should be able to find us at Marshall. There's a couple other places I'm hoping we're going to be. We are moving to. We're going to try a new model this year. We're going to do a little bit less markets. We're going to do a little bit more distribution. I've got 6 freezers that are about the size of this table that we're having branded. I'm hoping to have put into some places where people can find us, right? So I don't have to be at a market, right? That'll go a long way. And then the truck's coming along. So yeah, just keep an eye on our website. You can greatscotticecream.com. It will be changing. I've already got the proofs. I know what it looks like. It's going to be awesome. It plays into everything that we're doing. It plays into the nostalgic look. It plays into that fun, right? We're an experience. Like I said before, we're an experience. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. Engage us. That's what we want. We want to be able to talk to people. We want to be able to help grow that small food company. That's what we're looking for. So, yeah, that's the plug I have, I guess. Right. A couple weeks you can find us, and then keep looking for us online.
Perfect.
Right?
Thanks for coming in, man.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. A ton of fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, listening. Great Scott, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, his website. Stop by, give him a shout. If you like pops, you like ice cream, he's the man. It's delicious.
Thank you.
So I think that's it for today.
That's it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Take it easy.
Bye now.